Hi guys, my name is Nelly and I'm the Kenyan girl doing stories on sustainable development goals, and today we're going to talk about what the hell sustainable development goals are and how they came to be. So first of all, SDGs are sustainable development goals. Before that, we had Millennium Development Goals. So in the year 2000, in the month of September, I think from the 6th to the 8th of that year, about 189 countries came together to form the UN Summit. And in this UN Summit, they were discussing about different ways to make sure that they eradicate extreme poverty. Now, at the end of the UN Summit, that is on the 8th, they agreed, all the countries that were involved agreed that they were going to follow the UN declaration. Now, all these countries agreed that they were going to make a commitment around 7 topics. And these topics were peace, poverty eradication, security, human rights and democracy, protecting the environment for all, good governance, poverty eradication, and protecting the vulnerable people in the society. So after they had decided they were going to make specific commitments on these areas, they came up with 8 goals that were going to help them achieve all these commitments. Now, all the goals that were made were the ones that were called the Millennium Development Goals. And these were eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education, promote gender equality and empower women, reduce child mortality, improve maternal health, combat HIV/AIDS, malaria and other diseases, ensure environmental sustainability, develop a global partnership for development. So these are the 8 MDGs which had 18 indicators. Now these indicators were supposed to show whether we were achieving the MDGs or not. If we take Kenya for example, when we had Mwai Kibaki as the president introduced the free education system. Well, education is free on paper. Yes, education is not, as a parent, I know education is not completely free and the quality of that education is questionable. The point is, from the year 1990 to around 2015, there were more children in schools. There were more people graduating. In my opinion, the problem with MDGs is it was more developed for developing countries. Yeah? They were not really universal. They were not really for every human being on earth. They were not universal, so to say. And because of this myopic nature of the MDGs, they got a lot of criticism from the key stakeholders in the development sector. And some other critics believe that are perceived to be something that was imposed on developing countries by developed countries. So because of that, in the year 2015, after the MDGs had expired, different states had to think about what will happen post Millennial Development Goals. For example, in 1990, nearly half the population in developing countries were living on less than $1 per day. And that's reduced to 14% by 2015. But now, what happened when the MDGs had expired? In September 2015, the United Nations General Assembly convened a special summit where they were going to discuss the adoption of post-2015 development agenda. What was achieved at the end of this special summit? It ended with a declaration called Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which is a universal call to action for the betterment of people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development has 17 goals, which are accompanied by 169 targets and indicators. These 17 objectives is what we call Sustainable Development Goals, commonly known as the Global Goals or the 2030 Agenda. Now, the SDGs, I did a video up here, just click on the link up here. I did a video on the 17 SDGs, but I will just name them again. If you don't mind, just let me read them out. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice strong institutions, partnership to achieve the sustainable goals. So bottom line, the SDGs are post MDGs. The difference between SDGs and MDGs is that the SDGs are more sustainable, they are wider, they are wiser, they're more universal, they're more inclusive. They concentrate on the social, the economic, and the environmental part of development, rather than the MDGs that were just 8, and 6 of them were heavily concentrating on health. So the 17 SDGs carry on the work that was started by the MDGs from 2000 and 2015, and this SDGs will take over from 2015 to 2030. That's why it's called the 2030 agenda. Another thing is, if you want me to make a story on where Kenya is in terms of sustainable development goals, let me know in the comments, or follow me on Instagram and DM me. You can inbox me on Facebook. Just let me know. Let's have a discussion. Okay, thank you so much and bye. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. The red button below.